I'm back for the next installment on this discussion regarding the 7 levels of Ascension. And for those who are just jumping in on this video, I've been doing this series, just one video a month, going through all 7 levels since about the summertime. So I'll link the videos prior to this one below in the description box so you can catch up if you are just coming in on this part of it. So you have that background leading up to this content that we're about to get into. And again, for also those who are new coming in, the 7 level path of ascension that I am discussing to unity consciousness is based on the methodology of the late Dr. Joshua David Stone. And I am sharing my own personal experience on the journey and gifting that forward to you all as you journey on your path of awakening and ascension. But my experience is just my experience. Everyone's experience on the path of ascension is unique. So I'm going to do my best in my language with this video to talk about what you may come across or what you could encounter as a result of coming into level 5. Okay? All right. So with level 5, it's kind of a breath of fresh air. It's kind of a release, and it's a break, a slight break from the intensity of moving through level 4, which can take a significant amount of time depending. Time at this point with this journey goes away. The time, because we're working outside of time and space, but regarding earthly time, we can't give time regarding when and how you move through these initiations. It's entirely up to you and your spiritual support team and the essence that you have placed your faith in on a grander scale or greater level, more expansive level. So with my experience on this journey, when I entered into level 5, it took some time to get used to just the lightness of it, being in this part of the journey, but yet still having to move through physically very trying, challenging, uncomfortable situations. Some of the most I've ever had in my life. But yet within me and spiritually, there was a lightening kind of taking place. It took me a while to actually believe it. So what does this look like? It's almost like you are thrown because you are being invited to get to know the true you outside of what you've been programmed to believe. And that takes a while to become accustomed to. Who is the you aside from what the world has told you about you? That's this level. You get to learn who that is. Because so much of level 4 was sorting through the false self or the illusory self, the program self, versus who you are in truth, and getting to know for you what is true and what is not true. And the mind has been at the forefront of moving through life and moving through things. And that has become the predominant force that we lean on. And level 4 just crushes that. It totally begins to deconstruct the mind's power over you, the real you, the true you, at a universal level. So at the end of level 4, there's just a lot of space. There's a lot of room. You're not tied to or obligated or necessarily even value what you used to. And you're not ascribing to these aspects of you that aren't you anymore. And you know that. You're clear on that. So once you get to level 5, you could have kind of this what I call it, refer to as a cosmic showering or a universal blessing that leads to the gift of higher information regarding who you really are at a universal level. And it takes some time to receive that and to ground that and to integrate that. Once we are at level 5, we are considered at the beginning of becoming a high initiate. We're not entirely considered a high initiate until level 6, but we're on kind of the beginning of that. And we have to be real careful at this level because we can also get stuck in that. The ego kind of likes that and might cling to that. And this is not the level you want to get stagnant and stuck at. You want to remain open. You could be incredibly spiritually polished, even more so than levels 3 and 4 at this level. You could be really, really good regarding talking about matters of the spiritual in relation to matters of the physical, but we have yet to truly ground the spiritual into the physical. So if we stop here and get narrow, then we are literally cutting off the more expansive part of ourselves from the self, the earth self. Some people consider it the lower self that we had to kind of detach from in order to truly receive and understand this more expansive part of who we are in our divinity and claiming our divine authority. Beyond level 5, those two have to come together again. So don't cut off at this point. I see this a lot. Where people have just completely shut off and pushed away and rejected essentially their earthly selves, what is considered the temple, the body, the lower self. You are whole in your divinity. This journey of ascension includes all of you, at least as long as you are in an earthly experience. That includes your temple, and that includes everything outside of you and inside of you. It's all together. So it's really easy to become separate and severed at this level and operating just at one part of yourself while negating another. Don't do that. And remain humble and remain you're a student, and ascension extends far beyond the 7 levels at the cosmic level. And as a reminder, we're just trying to get out of preschool here regarding ascension. So not so quick to be in the role of teacher or guide or healer yet, at least when it comes to these matters and with ascension. Although you might feel like it, it's okay to help to the degree that you feel like where you have landed or grounded. But when it comes to just ascension in its totality, we still have quite a ways to go to acquire the information that we are to acquire, to complete all of the inner and outer work necessary in order to ground our multidimensional selves into the earthly avatar at a higher degree of consciousness or higher state of consciousness beyond 3D. So just something to keep in mind there. And it's easy to spot. It's easy to spot someone that's just stopped there, and then they go into this mode of calling themselves a guru or a spiritual teacher, or try to go around thinking that they know something. And we have yet to even really deal with the heart at this level, which I'll go into a second. So it's really important to stay open, stay expanded, keep going. Don't just get stuck here. Regarding the heart, this level deals with that which is within the 12 chakra system. We've now are at the fifth chakra or the heart center. And it is through the heart center that we are receiving all of this cosmic blessing through the intuitive faculty. And now we are more connected, or have the opportunity to be more connected to our emotions and our emotional faculty. So this is where we really get into the heart work. Could have a heart center awakening at this level if we haven't had it already. And that's just feeling and experiencing more expanded degrees of divine love, or love in many forms that we might have been closed off to or haven't had the opportunity to feel before. And that doesn't necessarily, for me, it was that of spirit. I wasn't able to receive a heart center awakening at this level with the physical. It was entirely spiritual for me at level 5. We also have an opportunity to be honest about how we feel and not ascribe anymore to how we think we should feel, which is really freeing at this level. So now you have an opportunity to really dig deep regarding the grievances and some of the pain stories and even some of the trauma at this level. We've been doing so much work with the mind up until this point. Now is the time to really focus on the heart, because the heart essentially leads in your being out here. We lead more heart-minded instead of mind-minded, if that makes sense. Yeah, we're not so much in our minds. We're being asked to remain more connected within our heart center. So, yeah, it could be really moving through past traumas, as in correlation with as you receive more of your higher information regarding the truth of who you are. And what that could constitute is who are you at the celestial level, your celestial line, your star seed line, who's your star family, what planets have you been on before, what parallel timelines exist, where you are in correlation with this one, your past lives, and maybe things that you have been moving through in previous lives leading up to this one. You really come into your spiritual support system and who your guides are, or your ancestors, or angel helpers, or divine helpers, or whatever term best represents or explains that part of you that is divinely supported. And along with that, you have time to really digest the receipt of who you are at this universal level. And then you can use your compass that you have developed, hopefully in level 4, to discern truth for you regarding the receipt of and blessing of this information. And in using your discernment compass, engaging truth from what's being received, then you have the invitation to ground that as truth for you. And that's how we're coming into our sovereignty now. Our energetic sovereignty and our divine authority is we're no longer dependent on anything outside of us in terms of someone or an entity, energy, system to tell us who we are. We know who we are. We know who we are on such a grand scale, even beyond this planet. And that's so much of how energetic enslavement takes place, is you're not in the knowing of who you really are, and you've been in so much dependence for others to tell you. You don't have that going on anymore in level 5. And it's very empowering, very freeing. So, in coming into your true cosmic self and to come into the knowledge of your higher self, and this is the space where we begin to integrate the higher self. You may get a new name. Your identity could completely shift to accommodate the frequencies of these blessings, which ultimately leads to living and being and operating at this state full time. And that's how you literally can see or understand yourself in a higher state of consciousness or more expanded state of consciousness, because you understand yourself in that. Literally, like you literally have grounded that here on this planet. And a piece of this that may come up as well while you're receiving these blessings, while you're taking time to integrate and learn who you are, and while we're learning how to operate more and be in tune more with our heart center and be honest with our feelings and work through the grievances and work through the trauma and allow ourselves to connect to our pain, then we may begin work with the monad or the soul family. And that is reversing some of the dysfunctional genetic conditioning. It's also transmuting some of the generational trauma that, or ancestral trauma that has gone on generation after generation after generation after generation, that could begin at this level. And then you understand, because again, that receipt of that higher information has informed you of your role in being a reset for the ways in which the genetic line that you've been placed into. This is the means by which we are going to exalt the family line. And this is the way that we are going to give the line a fresh start. However, sometimes this isn't all roses or running through the forest naked eating nuts and berries or paradisian. Sometimes it requires some really, really, really hard choices to ensure that you are positioned adequately in your light work to successfully carry out this part of the task, if your soul has chosen it in correlation with being a graduate soul here, and you've been placed into a specific soul family to do that work and to offer them that gift of a true new beginning, if they so choose. And sometimes you might not be the only light worker within the soul family working in your earthly family with your genetic line. There might be others, but it is to the degree that they and you are making the conscious choices needed, regardless of how uncomfortable they can be, that tend to have you seem like you are going against the grain, or that you are becoming like this black sheep, or that you are not living up to standards or familial expectations. This is the reality of what some of this work can look like, that is actually on a higher scale, not only healing the soul family and doing a reset for the genetic line, but it's also aiding in evolving the current relationship paradigm here on earth, which very much includes the family unit as a whole, as we understand it. So what could be considered, honestly, truly a catastrophe within the earthly state, as we have tend to perceive it formerly in the 3D, in the higher dimensions, or from a higher state of consciousness, or more expanded, if you will, everything's right on track. like the work is being done exactly as it needs to be. And at that level, there's only love, right? So these are some of the things that you may come into, or that you may encounter as a result of moving through level 5, with emphasis on showering of blessings, who you are at the cosmic level, opening more of the heart center, getting into healing of the emotional faculty, reviewing trauma, pain, grievance work, could be in correlation with the additional assignments within light work or your soul contract to exalt your family line and do a reset with some of this dysfunction that has gone on over generations, to give the earthly line, and in correlation the soul family line, a new beginning. And remember, do not get stuck at this level. We want to keep going on our journey in becoming a high initiate, and to integrate the higher self and the perspective and understanding of who we are as multidimensional beings cosmically in heaven. And we're in just at the beginning of the process of grounding that here on earth. Until next time, I look forward to discussing the next level, and take care and see you soon. Bye-bye.